Hello and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and today we are talking economic development. It's actually a theme that we've had all week long. We're very excited about it. And right now I have with me Mike Fitzgerald. He's the president and CEO of the Denver South Economic Development Partnership, which might seem like a mouthful, so I believe we should refer to it probably as Denver South EDP, right?
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Just a quick intro on stuff that we've got going on. Tomorrow we are very excited. We partnered with the with CSU Global, it's Colorado State University Global
Yes,
Campus.
terrific.
Yeah, to talk cybersecurity. We're doing a cybersecurity roundtable, and we have people from Microsoft. We've got Colorado Workforce Development Council joining us. We have people from IBM, and we are just super excited for this cybersecurity roundtable, and that will be at the CSU Global Campus. So if you have not
That's
already
terrific.
signed up, it is perfect. Be sure to sign up at cobrt.com/events. It will be on our events page. That is May 10th, tomorrow. Very excited to host that. So again, welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, so President and CEO, I assume you did not start out at Denver South Economic Development Partnership and work your way up.
No, I've only been there 8 years this July.
Well, happy anniversary, early anniversary there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I previously was in Hawaii for a decade doing very similar work, helping them diversify the economy. Before that, I was in Seattle for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And before that, I was in Florida
Yeah.
and then Montana, where I'm from.
You have lived in very beautiful places.
Yeah, I've been lucky,
Yeah.
fortunate.
Absolutely. Now, Hawaii, I have yet to be there. That's one of the states that I've yet to visit. What drove you from Hawaii to Colorado?
Well, I had a 3-year running contract, and I was there for almost 10 years, 9.5. And I was just missing the mainland, missing the mountains, missing the prairies.
Yeah.
You know, there's 160 miles of road on Oahu. So, I mean, it's a lovely place. It's probably the most pristine place on the planet. Perfect air, perfect weather, pleasant people.
Yeah.
You know, it's terrific.
I would assume that you can't be mad living in Hawaii, right?
It's pretty hard. It's a pretty mellowing place.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
would
just
imagine.
you're in the middle of the Pacific. The
Yeah.
average weather is 75 to 85 every day, 20 to 25 wafting trade winds.
Exactly. It sounds like I'm going to have to move after this. But in the meantime, Mike, tell me a little bit about Denver South EDP.
Sure.
Yeah.
Denver South is a 30-year-old organization started by 5 or 6 competing developers for the territory or the land that was south of Bellevue and kind of almost down to Castle Rock, in between Parker Road and Santa Fe 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was all pretty much ranch land until then, and each one of them just got a different piece of that and started developing it. And they started out as, I would guess, pretty much buccaneer competitors.
Okay.
But then at some point, maybe 5 years in from where they were, so that would have been 35 years ago, they decided they should be collaborating so they could build the infrastructure to support their developments there. And that was the genesis of what was then not called Denver South, but what became Denver South Economic Development Partnership.
Okay. Interesting. I don't think I knew about that. So we know that we have a lot of different chambers, right, throughout Colorado and things like that. What makes Denver South EDP different?
Well, first of all, we're contained in that specific area of focus, and we really focus on 2 things and have from the origins of the creation of this organization. We focus on transportation infrastructure and economic development, including retention, expansion, recruitment, and over the last 5 years, supporting new tech companies that are getting in business.
That's exciting. Technology is definitely one of the up and
Definitely.
coming.
And we do that. We originally have done it and still do with the Innovation Pavilion that's run by, I don't know if you know that group at all.
No.
It's located in Denver South. It's not very far from us. Vic Ahmed is the founder and runner of it, and they're fabulous.
Oh, wonderful. Good to know.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So we know that economic development, one of the first things that people think of, right? Growth, money, that type of deal. But some people don't think redevelopment with that, right? Is that something that you guys partake in? Not just growth, but also reorganizing some things.
Definitely. I think there's been some 2 or 3 major shifts in the economy and the society, which has changed where at least we believe economic development needs to be focused. For maybe the first, from I'd say from the Industrial Revolution to say 1960 or 70 or maybe a little beyond there, it was really focused on heavy industry and then light manufacturing or lighter manufacturing.
Yeah.
But in 70 or 80, that all started to shift. And what really started to shift it was the evolution of the global economy, particularly the global information economy, which changed the dynamics for us all for all foreseeable time.
Yeah.
And that's when education, and what really drove that is when capital flows, dollars, yen, mark, francs, kronas, every capital could move across borders and could fund projects everywhere simultaneously with the evolution of high learning in these places, really educated people. So by, say, I would just give you one example of which there are many. Say by 1985, I used to, when I was giving presentations, ask people in the audience if they owned a VCR. Now that's pretty old technology. They would all raise their hands, of course. And I'd ask them, how many own a VCR made in the United States? And they'd but nobody did, because they were all made in South Korea, because South Korea's population was equally as educated as ours was. They'd work 300 days a year, 360 days a year for 1/10 U.S. wages, and they made state-of-the-art technology. That's proliferated now all over the world. So it's changed the dynamics. Up until 1965, just think about this, the U.S. so dominated the global economy, almost 60% of the global economy with 5% of the population was U.S. We had dominated all those markets. We were one of the few places that wasn't decimated by World War II. We spent a lot of money helping revive Europe and Japan, but then they got good with even newer capacity than we had, and they started taking market share away. Because we weren't evolving. We had kind of settled in. Our businesses had kind of become complacent. So we went through a trench of 80 to 90 almost when we decimated Middle America by lost all the industrial capacity there, or much of it, because we hadn't been paying attention, had been retooling. Now our companies are amongst the best in the world, but there are many, many good companies everywhere on the planet now. That's a major change, and educated people everywhere.
I absolutely agree with you. That's very well said. Now, global economy, right?
So back to your question just for a second. So we do targeted economic development, but what we've really focused on, this organization was one of the creators of the light rail and really developed almost all the transportation infrastructure in Denver South, including the light rail. And that's what they'd focused on for the first years of their birth. And then in the second half of that, say maybe 15 years ago, they started focusing on economic development. That means they had the business parks built, a lot of other things. But I'll just give you some quick statistics now, which are pretty amazing. And I want to emphasize, I can't take credit for any of this. I've only been there 7 years. But there are about 23 business parks in the area of Denver South.
That's a lot. I didn't realize there were that many.
20,000 businesses. 6 of the state's Fortune 500 are located there. 230, almost 240 jobs. And maybe producing almost 20% of the state's total gross development product income annually from that area. It's one of the most economically dynamic really in the United States. And of course, so now, and it begets itself now. That's the wonderful part of it.
That is.
And has since I've been there. So.
Right, you're reaping those benefits as well. So what's your plan to keep that on track, or did you want to grow that more?
No, we're growing it. We do targeted development, trying to supplement the areas that we already have. I'm going to read these to make sure I don't lose any of them.
Absolutely.
We have about 8 specific big industrial clusters: aerospace, aviation, broadband communication. Prosperous area because of this, and it begets itself, and because of the which an and square mile.
Re-
Out with here. New people hire. Change. Are quite there. I've been bored. They'll document that you know development lifetime. I'm sure change is the as I the good now here it is the list. And what we're doing interviews now with the companies, starting to do interviews. We've done about 70 with the companies in our Denver South, and we're starting with trying to diversify the industries that we're interviewing, and the sizes: large, medium, small.
Yeah.
Their top three things, and these won't be surprises, is transportation infrastructure. It's a log jam, and now it's a productivity effort, and what are we doing about it? Mm-hmm. The second one is affordable housing, that our people, nobody can afford to live down here,
Yep.
or few can. And the third one is the workforce, the caliber of the workforce. Mm-hmm. And that's harmed, not because there aren't plenty of good workers around, but they can't find a place to live, and it's hard to get in and out of the place.
Exactly.
So, and then they go on to other things, but the entire rest of the list, in only 5 instances did companies that we talked about raise anything about taxes, regulations, any of the normal things that you would think they would be talking
Right.
about. They wanted to know, what are we doing to create safe communities? What are we doing to preserve the environment? What are the quality of the education schools? How where can we get workforce training?
Yeah.
What are the festivities and the cultural activities that are going on here? Are we supporting those? Are we and why are they asking that? Because the biggest change now in the global economy, or it is in the United States, is that companies now have to move where the smart people want to be.
Right.
In the old days, people would go anywhere to get a job for the old industrial. Now they've got to be here, and it happens to be the millennials that are driving that agenda now. Not solely, but they're on the cutting edge. So these companies need to be
Yeah.
where those are, and they fully understand that these are the amenities, bike paths, walking paths,
Yeah.
walking villages. These are the things. So we're even transforming Denver South into that kind of an environment beyond where it is now. So it's building community capacity, making sure, and 21st infrastructure is different. We're beyond, not only, we still do roads,
Right.
intersections, bridges, all of that stuff. But now it's much more using sensors and technology and the Internet of Things to wire up smart roads, so all the intersections are coordinated, so you don't sit at a red light when no traffic's there.
Exactly.
That would be a simple example.
Yeah.
But we're doing that throughout water systems,
Yeah.
irrigation systems for landscaping, education systems, linking libraries together, linking one of the best examples you could find literally in the United States is what Greenwood Village has done. John Jackson, who was then head of the police chief there, is now general manager of Greenwood Village, created probably the most sophisticated, interconnected cybersecurity system in the United States, as documented by Arrow Electronics.
Yeah.
In terms of they've linked together all of the school systems, every room, all of the emergency management. People know every room, how to find it quickly. They've all got maps. They're all interconnected on one communication system, the best in the United States. That's using the Internet of Things
Wow.
and cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So that's the effort we're in now, is making sure, or trying to help make sure that all of our communities, and we have 3 dominant cities there, Centennial, Greenwood Village, Lone Tree, and in 2 counties, Douglas County and Arapahoe County,
Okay.
that all of the government entities are maximally alerted to this potential and have assembled their own technology teams that are working, how do we change this? And what we're doing is scouting all over the world for who are the best companies, best practices that we can bring to help them retool this whole place.
Yeah. So how are you doing that then? How are you bringing those?
Our major contact, we have a terrific group that we've hired called Citify, which is a group of consultants that have helped do this in many other cities around the United States, combined with Arrow Electronics. I don't know if you know who Arrow Electronics is or not.
I don't.
They are one of the biggest companies nobody have ever heard of. Their headquarters in Denver South.
Oh, okay.
They are about 110 on the Fortune 500. They're $25 billion
Wow.
annual company. They are the assembler and creators and packagers of technology for virtually every big popular technology company you can name.
Wow. Okay.
And they're helping us identify what can be done, where the best practices are, who are the companies, helping screen those, bring them, and then get them with our local governments.
That's fantastic.
And we've created called the Smart City Alliance, which includes our area, but we have now 15 other cities that are joined up in that in Colorado. Eventually it'll be all statewide, taking advantage of this network.
I love that. So what do you currently have going on? Any current events that you would like people to join you with?
What we do is, ours is not a membership organization, although we welcome everybody. But we only put on a few events a year. We have every other month, we have what is called a partnership meeting, and we generally do this at the Lone Tree Arts Center. And we feature different topics with lead people in those topics from the area or from the state, not just from our local area. So we've done them on cybersecurity. We've done them on the Internet of Things. We've done them on all aspects of education. We've done them on every aspect that's important to the community.
Right.
We've done them on mental health and health care. Each time it's a new focus based, and then we spotlight emerging technology companies periodically to show everybody. And it's a cross section of people that come, about 150, and they're all either business, education, cultural leaders, government leaders, elected officials, and it's pretty much the not all of the leaders, but it represents the leadership of Denver South and often the state. So we have the governor there periodically. We have people from Denver there periodically. And anybody is welcome to that wants to come. All they have to do is look on our website, denversouthedp.org, and they'll see when the next one is and call our office and make a reservation. There's no charge. We put these things on, and our goal is to just kind of keep the community informed, aware of what's going on, because there's a lot of cross-pollination, and that's what comes out of that, is they make terrific contacts with each other. And We don't even know all the collaboration that comes out of those, but it's extensive.
Well, and I don't know about you. I've lived in several states. I'm also not a native to Colorado, which is like many of us these days. But one of the things that I have noticed in Colorado that has been my favorite thing that I've seen is the collaborative efforts across the board, across the state, right? Across industries. We see how well people in Colorado collaborate. And I, for one, am so happy to be a part of that, right, with the Colorado Business Roundtable. And, I mean, shoot, we call our show Connect and Collaborate for that reason, right?
And I tell you what, Alex, all the places I've worked and all the countries that I've worked in, nobody compares to the culture of collaboration.
Yeah.
It evolved over the last 30 years. I'm told that the genesis of it started when the oil and gas industry kind of collapsed in 81, 82, 83, which kind of was an incentive for the MEDC, the Metro Chamber, to get together. And out of that came the collaboration led by Mr. Clark and others.
Yeah.
And they started identifying what are the sectors we want. Tom Clark was amongst others that led that. And they really started targeting and building, understanding the capacity of the sectors they wanted, and started building those. And that's turned this state into one of the economic juggernauts anywhere. And the theory, not the theory, but the practicality of the culture of collaboration is what's being emulated that they started 30 or 35 years ago or 40 years ago. Others are now trying to replicate that because it's the only way you can get big projects done now anywhere on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, if you don't work together, you're never going to move forward, right? And it's interesting. I didn't realize that it was born from the collapse of the oil
That's what
and
I'm
gas.
told. I mean, my history doesn't go back that far, but
well, yeah. But I find that to be interesting because one of the big things, we have people on both sides of the fence here. We have people that are very much in the oil and gas industry and need
definitely.
that, and then we have people that are very against that. Right? You want other renewable energies, and I think what we're looking at in Colorado, we have a lot of people that are all of the above, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the pieces that we're missing is that we have to have oil and gas right now.
Yes, I think the third area that we really focus on is public policy.
Right.
And what we've learned, and this organization, Denver South, has completed some big projects, but it's a model. You can't move big projects off the fringe. You can't do them if you can't bring people together in the middle.
Yeah.
That's how big projects get done. No matter your politics, if you can't come together in the middle, you get a logjam, and therefore look at Washington, D.C.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest log jams ever.
Now, I want to speak about the Business Roundtable that you have initiated here. Is an invaluable new reality in Colorado. Nobody was paying attention to that big area. In the business that we're in, down in the trenches and down on the front lines, we're winning battles regularly.
Yeah.
But we could lose the war if we're not paying attention to what's going on in Washington, D.C. So Jeff Watson, Gail Denninger, the group that has put that together is invaluable. And we should all be supporting them because they filled a void. Nobody else was doing that.
Exactly. That's one of the things. If you are interested, of course, being part of the Colorado Business Roundtable, just check us out, cobrt.com. If you want to check out some of these awesome meetings that you have at Denver South Economic Development, it's denversouthedp.org. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you all for the amazing bit of work you do here. You provide global leadership in Colorado.
Well, thank you. And you are helping us support that cause.
Great. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Have a wonderful day. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page.